Welcome to episode 2 of season 1 of the Dutch Ice Dance Diaries. In today's episode, we interview Jeroen Prins. Jeroen is from the Netherlands, but he is now an ISU technical controller and judge. He judges multiple different categories, and he shares his wisdom on how to become a judge and technical changes in the ice dance discipline for 2023-2024. Let's get into it.
Okay, all right, Jeroen, thank you so much for coming here today, speaking to Jill and me about ice dance.
Thanks for having me.
Yes.
It's a pleasure.
Good, always a pleasure having you, Jeroen, right? We want to ask you to start off by giving us a snapshot of your judging experience, how you got into it, how did you get to where you are today, why? You can tell us about that.
Yeah, so we need to go back a long time.
Not that
So
old.
I was a single skater, and even when I was 15, 16, I knew I wanted to become a judge. So I started with that when I was 18, and at the same time I quit in the skating competition. I did skate a few competitions, but not on a high level. I never skated nationals, and I only skated singles. Although I wanted to do pairs, but I'm small. And I jump clockwise, so it all didn't make a lot of sense. So I became a judge for singles when I was 18, and this progressed quickly. Went to international when I was 25, and I passed the ISU exam for European and World when I was 28. So
May we ask what year that was?
Yes.
Was it pre-IJS? Let's put it that way.
This was way pre-IGNs. Yeah. So I did my first Europeans in 95, it was pairs, and in 96 I did pairs. So I did a lot of pairs. And when the IGS was introduced, then I first wanted to focus on getting the judging of it straight. Because this was brand new, because we were in parts we were judging a program as a whole. We just get 2 marks. Yeah, and now we had to score each element, and then at that time 5 components, so that it was considerably more complex. So I wanted to make sense of that first for myself. So I started a little bit later with technical, and my preference is pairs. And so first I became a controller for pairs, and then for singles. And then ISU for pairs, and then ISU for singles. So I went 4 years in a row to Frankfurt. Quite stressful exam, which you probably heard from many people.
Would you like to describe it? Because some people maybe are.
Yeah, so that's the Frankfurt seminar it's not it's not held each year anymore, but in that time that what it was. And so basically you were, let's say, drowned into rules and then into practicing. You have to practice. Technical panel works as a team. So 2 specialists, the controller and the data and the replay operator. So you have basically a team of 5 that needs to work as a team. Very different to judging, because then you're just by yourself and you can only look straight ahead, not left or right. But in the panel you can discuss with the team members, and you wear the headset so you can communicate and hear each other. Especially if you're in a big competition, a lot of noise can be needed to wear the headset, otherwise you cannot hear each other. So this is quite an intense experience, and so a written exam, so basically testing your knowledge of the rules. Something called element identification. So they put a few programs on the screen, you have to write down the elements or the levels. And then there's the practical part. The practical part is of course the most important. So they test your knowledge and application of the rules, and they test how you fit in your role in the team.
Right.
Controller has a different role than the specialist, so you're not supposed to jump out of your role. So if the specialist is just not making a call, and as a controller cannot make a call, and I look to the right and I say something.
Is there something to review? Yeah.
Yeah.
Control, you can call review though.
Yeah, you can call review. And everyone is able to call review, everyone is allowed to call review, also the controller. As a controller, you're supposed to wait a little bit and give the chance to the specialist to call reviews.
Yeah.
So I always count 1, to three.
No one.
That's how I trained myself to hold back a little bit, because I could be also a little bit more dominant on the panel.
You have to take your role.
Because I'm quite experienced now, especially in the technical panel, which I do a lot, and especially in pairs.
Signals and pairs.
Yes, but more internationally, I probably mostly do pairs, because there are not so many in the world, and I did already the championship, I did 4 continents, and I did the Grand Prix final this season as a controller. So I do that quite a lot. And I do points on that level, of the junior and senior Grand Prix, the championships. I do points, the technical panel, the referees, and the controllers.
Right.
So they usually give me appointments for pairs.
I was scared of the Frankfurt weekends, that's why I never applied.
Oh,
Yes. So now that I hear this, well, okay, maybe it's time to try again. Yeah. Yeah.
If you know your stuff and if you stick to your role, and
Yeah.
then you'll be fine, and then make you feel comfortable, even if it's a stressful experience.
Yeah, but judging in itself is a stressful experience, I feel, because you have to be
Yes.
controlled, level-headed, and watch the competition, not
It's
get
true.
emotional about things. So, yeah.
You need to have certain competencies,
Yeah.
let's say. And they're a little bit different as a judge than as a controller. Because controller is much more about teamwork, and judging is just your application of the rules and your knowledge of the sport, and in an analytical way, because you have to sort out all the elements and these components. I was of course stressed when I was nervous when I judged my first Europeans, but even when I judged Olympics now last year, I wasn't nervous at all. It was also a strange Olympics because it was COVID. We had to wear a mask. There was not a real audience, so it felt different than, let's say, other Olympics. I was the substitute in Torino 2006. The substitute for
So you were
Paris.
there and
Yes.
experiencing it.
I was actually on the panel, but my marks didn't count. And now I was judging the pairs. So I stick to pairs at the big events.
Yeah.
Do you feel there's more of a benefit having a judge from your country or a specialist, or does it not make a difference? Just have
I
someone?
think both are important, and we have a very high level specialist, Marie-Louise, and she's invited a lot, the same like me. She did 7, 8 competitions last year, including the Grand Prix final. She did Worlds the year before, so she's on a high level and well respected by ISU, because she gets all these nice appointments, and for me the same. I get appointed for continent and for Grand Prix, and for a lot of senior Grand Prix that we're controlling pairs, sometimes also in singles, depends what they need. So it's important to on that level also to be represented.
Yes.
And now was not the first time we had a dance team at the World, but we had 3 disciplines represented at the Worlds. And I heard that, but I wasn't there, but I heard that there was a lot of talk about the Netherlands being represented with 3 disciplines, and actually 2 pairs in the team.
Yes.
That was fantastic.
That was perfect, yeah. We were actually growing, yeah.
Both the dance teams have a technical score.
Yes.
You need a technical score to be able to compete at a certain level. For the Europeans, it's a certain number of points before Worlds, it's higher. And they just achieved that last season, so it's fantastic.
Yes, it is. It's groundbreaking, and I'm very happy with it. Yeah.
And we all want it.
For them, I think it's a good thing as well, so that we don't just have kind of the top dogs and then like the underdog, but that we have two really competitive.
Yes.
We're 2 that are quite similar level,
Yes.
I would say, and that's good for the competition. The
Yes.
same that they're also all quite similar level.
And not just that, but to inspire other skaters that there are more possibilities, because that's how I started ice dancing. I don't know about you, but I was a single skater and I was not good at it. And then I started ice dancing. Well, I can say that confidently. I was not good at it. And then I started ice dancing, which was a great alternative and which brought me much further than singles ever would. So it's great to inspire the other skaters.
Someone like Michel Tigla, he made the
Yes.
step at the right, the switch at the right time.
That's
Because
perfect.
there was not a real future for him in singles. But
Right.
in pairs, he's doing much better.
Perfect.
And look at Jeroen. Yeah,
Same,
look at Jeroen. He was like a C-level skater as a single skater.
Yeah.
I've seen a program of him single falling 7 times. Then he made the switch. Then he made the switch to ice.
It looks good.
In a few years, he was at world.
Yes, exactly.
What you can do if you commit yourself and make a good decision and exactly a team.
But I think ice dancing in the Netherlands has had a bad reputation for a very long time. Very old, and it's stuffy, and it's boring, and too technical. And slowly we're getting out of that stage and showing everyone that can be really cool.
Yeah, we need skaters to make the switch earlier. We need boys.
Boys for sure. Yeah.
But now there's solo dance upcoming.
Yes.
So that can be a transition from an easier transition from singles towards ice dance.
I hope so. Yeah. Also, when you are a single skater, you have the skating skills already. You've done your moves in the field, so you have a basis. You don't have to learn how to reskate. And then you do, and then all you have to do, quote unquote, it's a lot of work, but become the ice dancer. So
Absolutely.
you do have the basis, I think. And that was one of the areas that we wanted to ask you about as well is, do you think that having an ice dance program from a judge's perspective, do you think that that's helpful for the single skaters or maybe pair teams if somebody has pair teams in the Netherlands and not abroad? I think it's helpful.
I think that to have the foundation in ice dance is very beneficial. If you speak to all the coaches, we had a seminar with Michael Webster. The visiting coach seminar sponsored by ISU. It was a fantastic experience. And it brought the community together. That was a very positive side effect of that. And Michael told that back in his time, because he's older than I, he's 70 something.
Hey, Michael, if you're listening, you're making that clear. You're older than you.
So now you always do. No, but Michael told back in the days that there was, of course, compulsory figure, and they did singles and dance. And even the single skaters have to have the foundation in ice dance.
Good, yeah.
And I think this is really helpful. First of all, for you're hear the music, you hear the beat, you have to skate to the beat. So that you have to skate to the beat in singles as well. Skate to the music. So it helps you listening and hearing the music, hearing the beat, understanding what is a phrase.
Yes.
So that first of all is helpful. And then in ice dance, let's say turns have to be much cleaner than in singles to be awarded.
Yes.
So that is also helpful. I think it helps skating skills.
It does.
And it helps your balancing on the blade and your body core stability and all that kind of thing. So I think there's a lot of benefit for single skaters to have at least some foundation in ice dance. And I think it's really good that there will be this solo dance, let's say, program.
Absolutely.
There will be competition, international. We will take it on board nationally as well.
Would you maybe like to
elaborate
for anyone that's listening or watching that, what are we doing this year in the Netherlands with solo dance, because it's kind of new, if somebody's interested who's never done it.
Yes, so first of all, what is solo dance? Well, take an ice dance a regular ice dance program, that's a boy and a girl basically. But you can do a lot even by yourself. I mean, you can do practically all the pattern dances. Maybe the more advanced or difficult time or romantic will be hard, but maybe it's still possible.
Yeah.
Maybe it's still possible. But let's say that the more basic pattern dance you can do by yourself, either doing the men's or the women's step, but you can do both.
Yeah.
You can train yourself doing both. And then instead of lifts, we have poses, I think they're called.
Yeah.
We have curve elements, you can do spread eagle, or spiral. So those come instead of the lifts, and for the rest, it's exactly the same.
But don't we all start that way? I mean, I started with solo dance as well, because I didn't have a partner at first.
Yeah.
And in the period before you get a partner, you do everything by yourself. Or you do pro-am, right? So professional with an amateur.
Yeah.
I wish that I had that normal start, but I started ice dance directly with Dean
partner.
Copley. Yes, with my
You're so
first
lucky.
dance partner. No. So I, like Jeroen, wanted to be a pair skater.
Oh, yes.
And so I had to do singles at first because you can't just do pairs.
Yeah.
So I did singles for a long time, and then I did end up having 2 different pair partners, competed in pairs. He wanted to focus on freestyle. He was a good freestyle skater, both pairs and freestyle. He wanted to stop pairs to focus on
So it's freestyle, and I ended up being partnerless for a long time. And my coach, Carl Ramsky, said, yeah, you have to compete in singles then. You don't have a partner, you can't not do something. So let's get your programs done, you know, the regionals, just do singles this year, keep doing tryouts. And I really didn't want to. And luckily, Dean's coaches saw me, and he didn't have a partner at the time. And they said, "You want to just try dance?" And I said, "If it gets me out of skating singles,
Yes, I will try
do dance.
I will do anything, even if it's ice dancing.
Even if it's ice dancing." At that time, it was huge in the US, but at that time, it was seen as what you do when you can't jump.
When you're the failed figure skater, exactly. And we need to get rid of that reputation.
Well, I think
somewhat
in the
it's
US
already
it's gone.
Yes, it's gone.
You look at it, I mean, it's almost considered the highest or the best discipline, depending who you speak to in the US, because of Marilyn, Charlie, and
Yes, of course, yes,
and Maddie and Zach. So it's really changed there, and that's interesting. But my experience was so different. I ended up staying in dance because I grew really tall, and I didn't jump for a long time, so I lost some of my jumps. I was too tall for pairs at that point. So I fell in love with dance too, so I found my way. But that's something I feel like I missed a lot. So when I had to do the non-touch side-by-side step sequence, you could really see the difference between my partner, my last partner, who actually never did solo either. He also started with a partner directly. You really miss a base when you don't have a solo.
So it's good that it's an integral part now in the Dutch figure skating then, if it becomes a good program.
Yeah, we will take on board. We have to wait for the communication to come out and to see exactly how the rules
Yes.
are shaping up and how the levels are described, etc., etc. So this we need to understand. And even then I will try to do controller, I guess, for a solo again. Why not?
Why not?
That's already the one step.
It's taking over all the disciplines.
I always say I will never do TC for Iceland. But for solo, I think it's
Yes, it's
doable.
doable.
It's doable.
Yes.
You don't do synchro, or do you?
No,
No,
I don't see. I would say it's hardly possible if you didn't do it yourself. If you were not mindful to yourself.
But especially with the new rules and new choreography, because I've been out of this sport for about 10 years, and I recently had to choreograph a program, and I looked at the rules, and I was like, what is all of this? And where have my beloved dances gone? Where have these beautiful patterns gone?
I totally understand.
Yes. So, I mean, yes, it's more athletic, yes, it's more a sport, and I love that aspect of it, but it just changes the whole dance for me, the whole theatrical, the expression. I miss
I
that.
think that's why ISU now, a few years back, invented these choreo elements. I mean, that helps in the sense that, okay, these elements they're not leveled.
You mean the choreographic?
There's just basic choreographic elements.
Yes.
There's this basic requirement. I mean, the choreo lift has to have three seconds, things like that.
That's no, yeah.
Choreo
Do you think
2
it
has to be
helps?
2 reps.
Has it done what?
I think it helps. Yes, it helps. Because these elements already happened before they were officially elements.
True.
And
Yes.
You're already like spinning movements. They're already mini lifts. They're already sliding movements starting to evolve. Now they're much more pronounced and
Elaborate,
elaborate,
Yeah.
of course. And so it already started by itself, basically, because choreo first wanted to add more complexity, more intricacy, and more transitional stuff in the dances, in the single program as well.
It's fine.
I think it's also good to make it a little bit more unique, because by the end of I stopped in 2008, and I felt like at that time, in order to get all of the highest levels, it all started to look the same almost. All
For sure.
We were all
Yes.
doing the same type of lifts and
Yes.
same types of spins. And if you got a formula that worked, you stuck to it. You just did different style
It was a
moves.
magical time.
Yeah, I think that's formula thinking by
Yes.
coach is still there.
Sure.
I mean, there is a formula. That's what Sean Redstuff always tells in roundtable. He's the chair of the ISU Dance Committee. There's a formula to get level 4 and lift. It's this, and that. And a lot of people are doing it.
Yeah. But they get more creative. I do know what you're
Yeah,
saying.
they
I
do.
remember in 2008 when I quit as well, it was just you're watching the same thing 30 times over. Yeah. Just a different
Yeah.
music. Yeah.
Sure.
Well, that's something that I think is really important is the music aspect as well. Because I feel like after Gabby and I never know how to say his name, Guillaume, after they, really came onto the scene, everyone just started trying to copy their aesthetic and their look and their style, and you started seeing it over. And I got so, of course, I like to watch them, but seeing 10 different versions of them, I became bored with Ice Dance. I just looked for Piper and Paul, Gabby and Guillaume. I didn't watch anybody else. Those were Maddie and Zach. But I got bored with it. But do you think now we have, for this season, for the rhythm dance, what is your opinion about the 80s music?
Well, there's lots of creativity going on by the technical committee this season, and it's really interesting what they invented. And now I want to see how the coaches and the couples are translating this, because that's really exciting. So first of all, there's the 80s theme, and I have heard a few musics here and there, so there will be a lot of Pet Shop Boys, there will be a lot of Flash Dance.
Yes.
A lot of those.
Neon, everything.
There will probably be a lot of Madonna as well,
Yes.
I guess. But so the interesting thing is they don't prescribe a rhythm, they just prescribe a style.
Exactly.
A style of music. So that is one of the big differences, at least for seniors.
Yes, why they chose that?
I think to create something new, to take creativity to the next level, I would say.
Because we're moving away from ballroom dancing.
Yes.
And I think that's a good thing. Because
The pattern dance elements was already disappeared last season, and they won't take it out completely, and I understand. Maybe there's in the dance community there's a lot of ambiguity about it. Some want to keep it, some want to get away from it. So
Where do you stand on that?
For seniors, I would need to see the. Well, some people say, if it's at least one element that everyone has to do the same, you can compare, blah, blah, blah. But you can compare also partial steps, you can compare these choreo steps. I mean, it's not apples and apples, but it's apples and pears. It's still fruit. what you see in front of you, but it's not exactly the same steps and turns. And especially on the senior level, you expect more creativity, and I don't want to see a whole sequence of Yankee polka. Please,
No, not anymore. No, not the Yankee. But I do for beginners. I think it's very important to understand the stances, to understand your partner, to know how that feels, to create those edges together. So I do miss it in that sense at the lower level.
That's Iceland's basics.
Yes.
To skate together as a couple, to have the required hold, to hold your part in the right way. Then you need to learn. Then you need to learn. And, so from novice, for sure you need to do. For juniors, probably the same, probably still you need to have it. But even there, they invented something creative. I mean, Rocker Foxtrot, not the most.
We were a bit confused with this dance. Yes, the next question.
What is your opinion about Rocker Foxtrot as
a junior dance?
Yes, but the way they prescribe it, because one sequence you have to do the girl steps, and one sequence you have to do the boy steps. So it's interesting. So you have to probably switch sides as well. And you can't do them back to back because you have to basically switch. So there needs to be something in between, either a transition or you can do a whole element or you can do a few elements.
I like that because the woman was always the one with the hard rocker.
Exactly.
So I like that we now have to do some equal work.
Us doing the man's I think it's a rock
cross
tango.
Yes.
So in a way that feels fair. For a dance that was not so balanced.
That's true. Yeah.
Maybe we're moving more towards two partners instead of a man and a woman.
That's maybe also a step in that direction. Maybe you've seen already, like what's her name?
Gabby and Matt.
Gabby and exactly, to dance together. So this is the next step, maybe. So it's a
Now, the
step in
next
that
step is
direction.
getting the two of them to represent Canada together. Yes, I don't know if they could though, because she's American and Gabby is French, so if they have enough residency.
There's always a way.
There's always a-
residency.
You need,
Yes.
I guess you need to clear a certificate on both levels, and then they can.
Domestic
If that's,
in
if that's
Canada.
at some point passed as a rule, because there will be same gender couple.
Well, in Canada, it is passed.
In Canada.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's why I said, if
Domestically.
domestically in
Yes.
Canada, they could show the world what's possible.
What's possible, yeah.
Mhm.
And then countries like us where we have a boy problem,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
exactly.
solo dance or same gender. So the Rock Foxtrot, they've made it a little bit more interesting in the
Yeah,
aspect of
because
it.
essentially, I would say this is a novice dance, not a junior dance. But the way they
Yes.
did it, I mean, this is a challenge
Sure.
for everyone, for the couples, most
Yes.
of all, to do each other's steps. So
Yeah.
this is a new something. And I'm looking forward how that will shape up, how it will look.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Curious.
For the seniors, we have the pattern mix element Silver Samba.
There's now a choreo element.
Is that, yes, so that's what I was confused by, because I've only looked at it once,
Yeah.
and I figured I'm not going to bother trying to figure it out when we have the expert here. So can you walk us through
Yeah.
what's the pattern mix element Silver Samba and
So
versus the choreographic step?
So it's not a pattern element. So there's a misconception. It's they have to do the steps of the Silver Samba. I mean, one of the partners has to do the step.
One partner.
One or both has to do the steps of the Silver Samba from step, I don't know the number.
Yeah.
From step 9 to 47, I don't know, something like that. And so you can
That makes
the slip step is the
Yes.
end, because that's very recognizable.
Yeah.
And I think the first is a 3 turn, so that's
Yes.
also quite recognizable.
It's the weird,
Yeah.
the weird thing.
Weird.
Yeah.
Oh, I love
That part, yeah,
Yes.
exactly. So one partner needs to do the step, the other can do whatever they want to do.
Okay.
You can do the step as well, but can do something else.
That's fun.
And this can change during the course of the pattern. So you can do steps 9 to 12, and then your partner can do the step 13 to 20,
Yeah.
and then you can switch back again. And there's no, it doesn't need to be a samba rhythm in music, you just need to do the silver samba steps. So
So
they
it-
don't describe the rhythm, so you can do it to any rhythm. as long
Any
as the
number of
rhythm-
beats as well?
Yes, minimum 100 if I'm correct.
Okay.
100 per minute, that's the minimum, so I
A
can.
lot of freedom there.
Yes, it
A
is.
lot of freedom.
Yes, a lot
I
of
can
freedom.
imagine that's
A lot
stressful
of
for
freedom.
coaches.
Well, my choreography brain is like, how am I going to put this together and puzzle this together? And how do you recognize it as a judge? Like, oh, where's step 9? And then you're starting, and oh, this is
Well,
you.
Well, the tech panel helps you out.
Yes, of course, yeah.
They call the element, but that's.
But recognizing that, I mean, that's pretty.
Yes,
it's a
and then you need to understand what's the answer. I think
Exactly.
it's the slip step, so
Yeah.
that's quite recognizable.
Yeah, you can see that. Yeah.
This you can see. You can see.
What's the name? What's the name of that element?
So it's called choreo.
Choreographic step?
Choreographic rhythm sequence.
Choreographic rhythm
Yes, it
sequence.
was last year already, choreographic rhythm sequence.
Okay.
But then it was, what was last year, already forgot, my memory fades away.
I
So
didn't
for
do it
you,
when I was a senior
we had
dance.
Latin, I think we had Latin,
I
right?
know.
We had Latin. So it could be on any Latin rhythm, and then it needs to, you needed to go on the short axis, from barrier to barrier,
Yeah.
like the choreo step in the freelance.
Right.
So now they said you can do it from short axis to short axis, but with all these number of steps, you're never going to succeed.
No,
So
it's too much.
I've seen some examples already, and then basically it goes around
The whole ice cream, right? Yeah.
So it still stays in the samba pattern
Yeah.
loosely.
Well, even the pattern is free,
Yeah.
so you don't need to follow the silver samba pattern. You can do any pattern as long as one partner does require step. And that's my question, because that hasn't been clarified by ISU.
Right.
What if neither partner does one of the prescribed steps.
What
Then
happens
what?
then? Do you cut it off or yeah?
I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
Is a technical panel doing something? Are we supposed to do something?
Right.
I don't know. This needs to be clarified. I'm sure ISU will clarify that
Yes.
in the next communication, because we're still missing the technical communication. How is everything going to be level-wise? So, for this choreo, the sequence, there's no level. It's just it's confirmed or not confirmed, and no doubt.
There's GOE plus or minus?
And there's of course the GUE, and it follows the regular GUE chart for choreo elements. It's considered a choreo element, so
Okay.
it follows that structure.
Now they experimented last year with the split panel, correct?
Yeah.
Where if you could maybe describe to anyone that doesn't know what it is, what was that experiment like and what was the end result of that?
Well, I'm on the working group for ISU. There's still no end result. We did a few tests. We tested in Europeans. It wasn't like an informal test. It was all informal, but we were just doing it on paper. Then we tested during the championship in Tokyo. We tested also in junior world. I won all three, so that helped a little bit.
Could you tell us what it is exactly?
So splitting the panel means now a judge is judging the GUE, the elements,
Yes.
and the component. So if we are splitting the panel, the idea is that one set of judges only takes care of the elements, not the GUE, and another set of judges only takes care of components. Because really there's a lot to analyze during the program. If it's a single program or a pair program or a dance program, it is very difficult.
Yeah.
Because your brain is working on elements, and elements mean it starts, it ends, you have pluses, you have minuses, you have a result. Next element, it starts, it ends, you have pluses, minuses, and result. This is typical analytical thinking of your left part of the brain.
Yes.
But at the same time, this program is happening.
You're having an exhibition.
And these components are
Yes.
For the whole program.
Evolving, yes.
Now it's three components, it was five. I think three is a bit easier because the criteria are a bit more isolated from one component to the next. There's less overlap. So I really am in favor of the three components. But still, these three components, it happens during. When you take a singles program with a lot of focus on triples and quads in the first 1.5 to 2 minutes, and not so many transitions and stuff in between, so your composition could be lower for that first part. But then the choreography picks up, there's a step sequence, there's a choreo sequence, and it's on a higher level, maybe for the second part of the program. And this you need to balance out over the course of the 4 minutes, or how long the program was.
Yeah.
So you have to think, okay, composition, maybe the first part was a 5, the second part was an 8, so my mark is 650.
Yes.
But this is more of a sort of a holistic concept, and
Yes.
it's more right part of the brain thinking. So you're always struggling with this imbalance in your way of analyzing the program. As some judges even told, I'm so focused on the elements, take a fair program, it's
Yes.
harder to judge, I think. I'm so focused on the elements when I almost forgot about the program.
You've lost the storyline.
Yes.
If there was a storyline, I lost it. Just to focus on the element. Dance is a little bit. I think they did try dance we tried it, not in the challenge, but we tried it in junior world, I think. I wasn't on it.
Okay.
Then they did it a little bit, I think, during worlds as well. The dance community, I think, rightfully says that the elements in a dance program are more integrated
Absolutely.
in the
Yeah.
choreography anyway.
Yes.
So judges are used to think about the whole a little
Yes.
more.
I think so.
Yeah, and I'm on that line, not 100%, but I can follow that line very well. So dance, I think, is not so much in favor of splitting the panel. The judges that we discussed it in Europeans, and the roundtable judged Europeans, so Iceland, so I was in the roundtable, and we discussed it there. We did an example there, but some liked it, some didn't, for these reasons.
Right.
But for the singles, they were mostly positive about it.
Well, yeah, I can definitely see that.
Yeah.
Ice dancing might be.
Yeah, and we could see differences in the way the programs were judged, in the
That's
singles,
good.
especially in the singles. Especially programs that had a lot of errors and problems, they were scored considerably lower
Yeah.
than the panel on the test. And also in the challenge group, we saw a few programs on a higher level on the scale, but still there was a lot of up and down skating. And also those programs were scored considerably lower on things like composition and presentation.
It might change the sport again because it became very much here and there, here and forth, and so if
Yeah.
you do this system, you might focus again more on the whole the beauty of the
Yeah.
program.
And then there is a line of people saying, okay, we just started with these three components, the judges are still struggling with that.
Yes, and then
learning that, and
adding
now
something
now
else,
we're
yeah.
changing it again.
Yes,
This goes too
sure.
fast.
Yes, maybe that.
I
Yeah.
also understand that
Yes.
line.
Yes.
And I think if we continue with the three components, we will continue with the three components, and if we continue to educate and take judges through tests and examples, then the judging will improve. I think it's already a little bit better, but still we don't see a lot of difference in the three components.
I think that's
Unless I'm on the panel,
And
then you see
then you see big differences.
well, that's how I would be as well if I were to judge. But that's one of the main reasons that and wanting to coach. But one of the main reasons I wouldn't want to judge is my fear of doing all of those things
Yes.
at once. Whereas calling on the tech panel, you know, you really are focused on the elements, and that's it. And we always say, if it's clearly not a deduction, an edge, or a, attention or something, for judges, it's a good feeling.
Yes.
For the judges.
Other departments, yes.
Right, so it's good to hear you describe that. Moving on to basically the changes that were made this season for ice dance, mostly for junior or senior, but perhaps I don't know if there was anything in lower levels. What are the major changes?
I don't think there's changes on the novice. They still have to do the pattern dance and the free dance. I don't think that there's any changes there. They did add a new choreo element, so now we have a whole list of choreo elements. It started with a lift, with choreo lift and choreo spinning movement. Then came the choreo
Sliding. Yes, but
twizzle
also sliding.
choreo twizzle, choreo
everything.
sliding move,
Yes.
choreo sliding move. Then came the choreo step. Then came the assisted jump.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, is it still in there technically?
Yes.
Yeah, it's still there.
Okay.
And now came the choreo hydroblade move.
Love that.
That's
I'm
the
a
new
big
one.
fan of that.
You're a fan.
I'm a big fan because I was in Hushi Kessler school, so I really
Oh,
source of hydroplaning.
I think practically.
And I did it in my program.
You did one?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yes. Back in my day.
We had our own version where Benji did a hydroblade.
Yes, I saw that one.
I did a forward inside
And try to leave
That's
that,
right. Yeah. So I got to use my pairs.
I think the hard part will be the distinction between a choreo slide move
Yes.
and a choreo hydroblade
Hydroplaning,
move.
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah, because the hydroblade move you cannot touch the
No.
ice.
Yeah.
It's not, whenever you touch the ice, it's already a slide move. And then you
Right.
have to touch the
But hydroblading without hands is basically not hydroblading in Hushi Kessler school.
Yeah.
So we're,
Yeah, so
it's difficult, yeah. But with choreographing these new programs, there was so much to choose from, and
let's see how many clarifications there will be on the hydroblade.
Yes.
There will for sure be some coming.
Yeah.
This is new and
Once the
always
first
then there's
conversation
those
started.
a little
Yes.
back and forth.
Yeah.
But my advice would be not to do a hydroblade move and a slide move.
no, that's the distinction is
That's,
difficult,
that's
yes.
because it's too close together.
I'm afraid that if we do without hands, that we would just have a shooting ducks with, with an edge, which is not, to me, no.
Well, and you get into that difficult area of a fall as well.
Yeah, also that too, yes, yeah.
I mean, what is defined as
Yes.
fall now in the most recent version? A clear loss of control
Yeah,
over the
also
blades.
what can happen, and you see it happen sometimes in slide moves that
Yes.
that are losing balance,
Yes.
and then at some point it's a fall.
Right,
I've
Yeah,
gotten
so
that.
that is very tricky.
yes it is.
That is very tricky. And it leads me to the next thought. Should we even put the deduction for personally, I'm in favor of taking out this deduction for the fall. Maybe we'll propose it in the convert, I don't know.
Well, you are a bit of a trendsetter when it comes to proposing.
Yeah, so
changes.
my next step, and actually to avoid all this confusion in Iceland, is a big argument in
I
favor
agree.
of that.
Yes,
I mean, you know, a sliding move that loses balance, that loses control. Is that a fall? It's not really.
Not
a fall.
really,
It's,
yeah.
it's a technical error, you know?
yes,
So technical error should be punished in GOE.
right,
Well, that's the thing, is that you're kind of getting double punished.
yes,
Because your GOE is going to go down automatically
Yes.
in an element.
Yeah.
And if it's during a transition, if you fall in a crossover or something, your overall skating skills and transitions, you know, that those are considered lower. So is it not being hit twice?
Anyway, I think it is.
Yeah.
And equally for singles or for pairs, elements with a fall, okay, you have the reduction in GOE anyway. And on top of that, you have a fall, the reduction for a fall, and you should have a reduction in component. And I think that's all you should have.
yes.
Just a reduction in GOE, and if the fall has an impact on the program, which in most cases it has, of course,
Yeah.
then you take a reduction in your component, and that's all you should
Yeah.
need to take, in my opinion.
Yes.
There doesn't need to be this extra reduction.
Minus
for
a
the
little
fall.
bit for fall, yeah, no, I
And it can save a lot of confusion, it can
Yes.
save a lot of
Review time.
unnecessary
That too.
reviews.
And I also think that it leaves space for lower teams to stay lower and higher teams to potentially get away with it because you're less likely to call fall
Yes.
on a higher level team than a lower level team. You know, yes, we've all as skaters experienced that as coaches and perhaps judges and technical specialists sometimes not all in agreement with each other. So fall is that not full?
And sometimes it's really arbitrary, you know, I mean, you can see someone stepping out of the jump almost on the end, you know, and you know this is a -4 or -5, and
Yeah.
is this a 4, yes or no, almost, come on.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to me to have this discussion. When it's a technical error, in that case, it's also something that you have to consider a component, and that's it.
Yes.
Don't bother about the extra -1.
I almost find it more distracting when somebody falls out of a jump and they're kind of turning out, putting hands down.
Yes.
Then like a quick fall and stand
And
up.
go up,
Yeah, you know, sometimes that's more even, and they hop right back into
Yes.
it as a high level skater.
Yes.
I'd rather see that
See
pop
that.
up than
Yeah.
trying to save it to not get a 1 point deduction.
Exactly,
Yeah.
yes.
You know, with their butt in the air and the skirt up and
So maybe we'll propose next time.
we'll see.
I'll speak a little bit during the season to some
Yes.
people in ISU, but I think sometimes it's just a shortage of dance.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
does that give an opportunity to anyone who, you know, is in the Netherlands, is thinking about judging or?
Yes, please start.
Don't call me out.
Yes. I'm looking to you.
We're looking at you. All right.
But what kind of opportunities would there be for somebody who wanted to, you know, who has skating experience and
Yeah,
knowledge?
of course. Now that solo dance is coming, then
Yeah.
then it's a smoother transition, I would say, from single judging to dance judging.
Yes.
It makes it a little bit more.
It makes it easier because
I think so, yeah, the transition, yeah.
because, well, you have to learn the pattern dances anyway, but you see only one person. It's a little bit more one-dimensional than judging a pattern that has a couple, because you have to check both the steps and the holds, and it is a little bit more complicated.
But it makes the step.
So it's an easier entry for a new judge in Iceland, I would say.
Makes that step.
And we need dance judges. Everyone needs one, everywhere.
Everywhere.
So
Everywhere.
basically, if you're good at it, then you'll be able to go and have all these
Absolutely,
experiences.
absolutely. I can train you. So it's,
All right. All right, very good. What do you think is the best part about being a judge?
that you have the best seat in the house. That's one thing, that you're able to, in my case, able to travel a lot. And know that you're on expense, because it's paid either by the federation or by the Viking Federation or by ISU
Right.
on a higher end of the scale. And you meet a lot of skating,
Yes.
people skating family everywhere in the world, so your network expands, and it's just great to be part of the sport and to help the sport, to help the skaters, to help the sport progress.
If without judges, our sport can't exist.
No, because we need to give the correct feedback, and with our feedback, the couples can grow.
Yeah, but
And
you've
with
seen the
coach
sport
can
change so much also since the new judging system. You can just see that the
Absolutely.
sport has changed so much, sometimes in a very good way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
grow. I think especially in Iceland, it has changed in a very good way.
Yes, it has, yeah.
I'm very happy with the achievements of the ISU technical committee in Iceland, because they've been very progressive and
Yes.
yeah, I mean, 20 years ago, look at that freedom, 20 years ago,
Absolutely.
now it's night and day.
Night and
There
day.
is just no
Yes.
way to compare.
But I miss the theatrics though.
I do miss the theatrics,
I
yes.
miss a bit, I have to say. You know, people are a little bit more reserved. The
Yes.
costumes are a little more athletic.
I need a bit more storytelling, but I mean, other than that, I
Perhaps
think
that's for a lot of people a good thing though.
yes,
Maybe it makes it more palatable. But
it does.
It's fun because sometimes in seminars or in, let's say, initial meeting of competitions, some referees play these old programs. Then especially to judge components, it's very interesting. So one referee put a program of Duchenets.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and that's a perfect example for components
Yes.
because they were very high in performance, let's say, yeah, because they were unique. They
Very.
had charisma, they had really good presence. They were connected with the music. But look at the feet.
Yeah, no, don't want to look at the feet. So just
They
from,
were,
just
they were,
a butt.
they were on 2 feet. They were
Yes,
standing.
yes,
They were not on their edges. So
yes.
there you could, if they skated in this time,
Oh, no.
there you would need to make a real big
Oh, yes,
difference
for
in your components.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, they were good skaters because I still watch Torkel and Dean on a regular. I mean, you know, it's just the storytelling and I miss that a little bit.
Well, we were also born into that, and those were our role models, you know, that
Of course,
generation.
yes.
So that will always stay with us. But the ones that are coming up now, they're role models.
It's
They're
different,
more Tessa
yeah.
and
Sure.
Scott, or you know.
Yes,
Very good.
yes.
So it's
And,
really
yeah.
Equally as beautiful, but in different ways.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to see more and more people, the more and more good single skaters make the switch at
Yes.
some point. We've seen, we've seen Matthias Verslers, who did triple axel with two jump quad, but he switched it out and look where they are now. They're on a very high level.
Daisuke, I don't know how to say his name, the Japanese guy. Daisuke.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. Now he quit again, but
He deserves to.
he made it to Worlds in Japan, so that was a big achievement.
Yeah.
And now look, we have Nicola Major making the switch from singles to dance. I've seen a little bit in Oberstdorf where he practiced, but there was adult competition. And
Yes.
in between, I could see one of the practices, and it really looks promising, and he likes it. The partner, he is good with his partner. I mean, he's a very good fit for Iceland. I would
Yeah.
say.
So there's hope that also in the
Yes.
Netherlands we'll get some
Of
freestyle
course.
skaters.
So the men, can we have a shout
Yeah,
out
we
to the
need
men?
men.
Yes.
That's the main thing.
Yes.
Or boys are used in dance teams and pair teams now. So,
Yes, of course,
yeah.
yeah.
We need new
Make
ones.
more, yeah.
We need new ones.
No, we'll be wrapping up in a little bit, but we have these two teams now, Chelsea and Shireen, Hannah and Alessio. What do you think that does for our sport here in the Netherlands, ice dance as a discipline?
It makes Iceland much more visible.
Yes.
I mean, they are shown on Eurosport, if they go to the European, to the World, so it's seen, it's talked about, they have, the newspapers write about it, Schaatsen.nl writes about it, so it's much more visible. It's especially, I think Shireen is a great, Chelsea too, but especially Shireen because he was never any good in singles. Let's be honest about it.
Just keep working on it.
I really like Shireen, so I'm sorry.
Well, I definitely call Chelsea at least once, maybe more. It's
Chelsea skated on a junior level.
Yes.
She couldn't jump a lot, but she
I saw them skating
to a certain level she could.
really
But
good.
Shireen was a different story, and he made the switch.
Yes.
And I mean, this is such a role model to be from not a single skater to a
Yes.
really good Iceland. So to world level Iceland, that is a
Yes.
massive massive achievement.
Yeah.
That should inspire everyone.
Yeah, and I think the sport can be taken more seriously when there's multiple couples.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, I mean, of course, I was there, and Marie-Louise and Samba were there at the time, but it was just different.
There's only one.
There's only one in the category, and there was no competition, and so yeah, I think we can take it seriously now. Yeah.
And then we have good judges as
Exactly,
well.
for judges.
We had the judge at the high level, we had
Yes.
specialists at the high level, we need more.
Yes.
We need more. Yes, I got the
We need more
message. I got
specialists,
the
we need more specialists, looking at you.
Yeah.
We need
Let me
more-
finish
we
my
need more
sentence first.
judges. We need more judges, so, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's, we create some impact on the world level, because other federations, the ISU notices this.
Yes.
We had the largest team ever at Worlds. A girl, 2 pair team, 1 dance team. So
Yes.
it was a big team.
Yes.
We've never had such a big team.
Yes.
So that creates impact
Yes.
on all levels. So it's only good for the sport.
The future is bright for
The
Dutch
future is,
racing.
the
It
future is
Well,
good.
figure skating, all disciplines.
Yes. In all disciplines. We just need boys.
Boys. So all the boys out there listening.
Well, with a boy, you can be in 3 disciplines, right?
Yes.
Singles and pairs and one, right? And we need it for pairs and for dance.
Others with sons.
Opportunity here.
Maybe we need to do what they do in Bratislava. I've been there quite a few times because there is this Nepal trophy and TC did a lot. And I spoke to the club. This is a big club. They have not 2 ice, they have more than 2 ice.
Okay.
In the same club, 4, I think.
Oh, wow.
At least, 3, 4. Yeah, I think 4.
More than 2.
Yeah, more than 2. More than 2. And what they do is that the hockey is very big.
Oh.
It's very big. So what they do with the kids, let's say on the Saturday they have hockey skate, and on the Sunday they go figure skate.
Yeah.
So they switch in their going to skate program.
Great.
They switch discipline,
We need to do that with the speed skating.
and you can see that.
Even ice hockey
you can see
though.
that Slovakia has a lot more boys for that reason.
Right. We have that as well in at least the northeastern region of the US in New England and Connecticut where I come from. They have it's such a tradition
Ice
for
hockey, right?
boys to do ice hockey.
Yes.
And they basically require, the youth programs require that you first pass through basic 4 in the US figure skating
Yes.
before you can even try it out for the hockey.
Let's do speed skating.
And some stay there.
Yeah.
Some stay in figure skating, so
They like it a lot.
yeah, and they often will send those skaters for private lessons or group lessons back to figure skating
Yeah.
to work on edge work and agility and all of these different things because it's seen as something really useful and helpful.
It is.
And that's what I think we miss here. We don't see that overlap, practice.
Yeah, we only see the overlap from short track to speed and vice
Yes.
versa, but not from
figure
not from
skating too.
hockey to figure or from figure to speed.
Not so much.
Not much. Sometimes they go from figure to speed. Unfortunately, it happens.
I still want to try the speed skate, but I cannot get it over my heart to put on these different types of skates.
Too much for me.
Yes.
Did you ever do roller? Anything
No.
roller? No? Okay, yeah. So that is another topic that I'm interested in.
That's
And
true.
we have we will be speaking to some people
Okay.
about
Yeah, that's good.
that transition.
Because Derek can make the transition as well.
Yes, especially for rinks here in Amsterdam.
Yes.
I don't know if there's any roller skaters on. Well, we have Marcus Dane.
Marcus, yeah.
Yeah.
There's more Martinez Saturday. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm thinking to take over the boys from roller skate. Yes,
Not all of us,
we
we don't have that.
Yes.
Without them,
have so few coming up at this moment. Well, we have a few, but they're at the start.
Very little,
Yeah.
If you have some, let's say, accomplished roller skaters, then we
Definitely. Yes.
But I think that it's important for, if there are any coaches that are listening to this, if they know that it's a possibility to have them do multiple disciplines. If you're Charlie White, I mean, I think
Absolutely.
one year he was junior
Chris was a really
freestyle.
good freestyle skater.
He was, I think, junior freestyle silver medalist when he was old. At the
Yeah.
same year, he won junior dance. At the same year, he was doing
Same
hockey.
time, right?
He was doing all 3 of those things: hockey, singles, and
Yeah,
dance. He had an ankle injury, he had to sit out, and he ended up focusing on dance eventually. But he did all those
I
different
remember
things,
that, yeah.
and they all complemented each other in some way.
I could even see him as a pair skater to be honest.
Yes, if he wasn't
Too
so,
tall.
he's not too
Well,
tall.
not too tall.
But I think
So
he
not
got,
small.
but he's talented enough that he could.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
sure,
yeah.
Anything, yeah.
Take over the sport. Well, I think
Yeah.
that's most of the main things that we wanted to ask.
Yes, I think so.
Thank you so much for sitting with us. I would
It was a
love,
pleasure, it was lovely.
yeah, I would love to even again at some point talk to you just about so many different things, not just judging, but skating related, because you have so much knowledge for us. But is there anything that we didn't talk about that you want to stress or make a point of or repeat?
I'm trying to look back at your, let's say, what you wrote down, and I don't remember it now.
Yeah.
But,
I think we've
I
covered
think we covered
everything.
most of it.
Yes.
Boys.
Boys, boys, boys.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me. It was a real pleasure.